If you must go out, maintain 6 feet of distance between you and everyone else, and wear a mask if you're going to be within 6 feet of others. Wash your hands more often than you ever dreamed possible. Avoid alcohol, tobacco, and drugs. And call your friends and family. Check in on your mother. She wants to hear from you right now. And speaking of mothers, we need you to do this, if not for yourself, then for your abuela. Do it for your granddaddy. Do it for your big mama. Do it for your pop-pop. We need you to understand, especially in communities of color, we need you to step up and help stop the spread so that we can protect those who are most vulnerable.
Did y'all just hear that? Did you just hear the filth that came out of the U.S. Surgeon General's mouth just now? Now, if y'all don't know, this is Jerome Adams. He is the Surgeon General, the U.S. Surgeon General. You may have seen him behind or beside Trump at many of the proceedings as of late. This is exactly why they could not wait to try and make black people the face of this pandemic. I know that he lumped Latinos in there as well, but right now we're talking about black people. If they want to discuss that, they can talk about it from their standpoint, but I'm talking about us right now, especially since this is coming from a black man who said this. He basically put on to us and said, if you want to stop the spread of this virus, and he said especially communities of color, but I don't like that communities of color, people of color BS. I don't like it. I don't like being lumped in with a group of people that don't like me. And he basically said tobacco and alcohol, as if black people are the only ones who consume those things. He must have been watching Instagram, maybe YouTube videos, TikTok videos, because they've been on the rise lately. And he drew his inspiration to say that on that stage. This is what you call, now this is your step and fetch it right here. He will get on that stage and say what 45 Mike Pence or that other doctor, that Fauci guy, can't say to us because it would seem offensive. So in order to make it not look racist, they put a black face there, and they do it every single time. I just recently did a video about that palm-colored cop in Baltimore who went into that black neighborhood and was coughing all over the place. The two guys that you heard speaking in there were both black. The commissioner, and I want to say that was the mayor. Both of them were black men. See, they know what they do. They put these people in position like that. So when they have to address black people or urban communities, they put them out there so it doesn't seem like it's racist when it comes from them. They are very strategic when they do that. That way all the slings and arrows can come at them. But see, the thing is, they don't realize that we figured out their little grand scheme and we see right through them like they're glass. And the thing is, he was reading off of a piece of paper. So that part when he was mentioning about the grandpappy or the granddaddy, the big mom, when he said big mama and granddaddy, we already knew he was talking about black people because we the only ones that refer to our elders as big mama or granddaddy. Even if we don't say it anymore, that's something that we call, when he said abuela, he was talking strategically, specifically to the Latino community. But when he said big mama and granddaddy, he was talking to us. And I can tell he went off script, because if you could look at his facial expression and his tone and how he said it, he did not read from that paper. That came from his heart. He internalized that and put it out there. And his tone, and like I've always told you, I'm a good reader of body language. The way his body language shifted when he said it, it made it seem like he said that with the most vitriol ever. He would not dare have said that about a palm-colored person in the way that he just addressed us in this so-called speech that he gave. But he made sure to direct this at us as if we are the ones that are going out here and continuing to spread this virus and keeping people under quarantine and lockdown. It's not us doing it. I mean, have they not seen the videos from spring break? Yeah, some of us out there, but they were most of them were palm-colored kids. You have these, Jerome Adams, let me ask you this. Have you thought about mentioning these individuals going around licking on stuff in the stores, mainly palm-colored people, or the ones going around spitting all over the place? Many of them have been palm-colored and Asian people. Or how about the ones that said that they were going to go around and turn this into a biomedical weapon? Those were all palm-colored men for the most part, who said that they were going to target law enforcement and people and non-white individuals. I would like to see you address that, Jerome Adams. I have so much little respect for you that I won't even refer to you as doctor. I'm just going to refer to you as Jerome with your crooked head. Here's a tip. If you're going to rock the baldy, at least have a nice circumference shaped head, and one that's round, not one that looks like Little Bill. You want to be petty? I can be petty right the fuck back. Because that was absolutely uncalled for him to go up there and say that. We have enough on our plate right now as it is, even while this is going on, to have this tap dancing, shoe shining, butter biscuit chucking fool up there make a statement like that and said it with such conviction. He better hope he doesn't get the Wuhan. But I have a feeling that if he does, he's going to find a way to blame us. And you know they say, don't trust a person who has a clean-shaven face. This man is clean-shaven. The only hair on his face is his eyebrows. This guy makes me sick. I can't even look at him the same way. And by the way, I actually found this out as I was reading through the comments. It said that he used to work for Mike Pence at one point in time, before he got his position that he has now. So that lets you know he was appointed by 45 and Mike Pence. He is nothing more than their puppet. And just know this, when they are done with you, Jerome, they will cut your puppet strings, and what will you do then? Where will you go? Because you can't come back over here if you was ever here to begin with. But he sat up there. He pulled a Van Jones. Now, I was going to do this in a separate video, but I'll talk about Van Jones' old silly ass in this video too. Another baldy. He wrote this article. You know, as a matter of fact, let me pause this right quick. I'll kill two birds with one stone. At first, it was going to just be about Jerome Adams. I can talk about Van Jones, and this is one as well. Shoot. We got time. If y'all didn't know, when this whole thing came out, when they said African Americans are disproportionately affected, what they'll do is what they'll hear is that black people will get it more. But they don't examine as to why that is. Like, you can tell that Jerome Adams and Van Jones are some surface level thinkers. Now, as for Van Jones, the reason why I'm about to go in on him is because one of my subscribers actually sent me an article that was written when they were talking about how black people were disproportionately affected by this entire thing. Now, mind you, when this article was written, it had just came out when they said black people were disproportionately affected by this virus, maybe a day or two after it was announced. It wasn't even an entire week. And I'm looking at this article, and my subscriber said they was absolutely disgusted by it, but they never told me why. I said, okay, I could tell baby by the title. But then as I was skimming through and I scrolled back up and I said, let me see who wrote this article. It was none other than Van Jones. And when I went back and I replied to that person, they said, I can see why you were disgusted. When I saw who the author was, I can see why you was mad. Listen, when I was reading that article, you would think that a palm-colored person wrote it. It was Van Jones who wrote that silly article. He wrote this silly article talking about how black people were disproportionately affected. What they need to do is they need to do that. They need to do this. They need to do that. It was probably only one part in the article that he wrote that made sense, but it wasn't until the very end of the article. So he's helping to peddle this thing along as well. He's another one of the people that, like, hates 45 so much, but will put anybody in there just because, they'll beat, so he doesn't have to deal with 45 anymore. So I wouldn't be surprised if he supports Jim Crow Joe. But Van Jones makes me sick. Now, Van Jones has been a disappointment for quite some time now. He has said some shady stuff in the past. Remember that time he got up on there? What was it? He was crying about something. We was like, "Are you serious? You a grown man up there crying about something so minuscule." I forgot what he was crying over. We was like, Van Jones, out of anything in the world you could have got on TV and overly emotional about, you cried about that. But you want to write this article that made no sense, and you couldn't wait to write it. It's almost like you just couldn't wait to be the first person to write something up as soon as it was put out there. Too late, Van Jones, it was put out there. And all you did was continue to peddle some lies and fallacies. Like, you just couldn't wait. But to Jerome Adams and Van Jones, they can both... I'm going to leave it at that. Y'all can fill in the blank. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure you follow me on Twitter if you haven't done so already. Have your notifications turned on, and I will talk to you in the next one. And I have just one more thing to say to Jerome. Since you want to talk about black people and how we need to step up and stop drinking and smoking and everything like that during this pandemic, we bet not ever hear of you even taking one puff of a cancer stick. Not one sip of any type of liquor, beer, anything with alcohol in it, because the minute that we do, we all gonna put your hypocritical ass on blast.